Lee Ridley. I was lucky enough to achieve 2 promotions with Scunthorpe United, but nothing compares to the joy I experience when listening to the Iron Hour podcast. Just a heads up, this podcast contains strong language, you know, the good stuff. If this isn't for you, turn off now. For the rest of you, now fucking enjoy the podcast.
Iron fans, thanks for tuning in once again to another episode of the Iron Hour podcast, and it's an action-packed episode today. Coming up on today's episode, we review the Oxford City game and discuss the celebration of the 1 year with the new ownership in charge. We'll have our usual segment of Hero, Idiot and Moment of the Week. We have a fan analysis with Scunthorpe United fan Ben Maidment, and we also will then go to the panellists for their take on the first 10 games. We'll discuss the Iron Hour podcast nominations for 2 awards, and we look ahead to Saturday's charity game between the Iron Hour podcast and Rail So Bad, and finishing it off with an FPL update from Marco. So I'm pleased to say I'm joined by 3 of my usual panellists. First of all, Marco.
Hi everyone. And just want to point out before, let's the elephant in the room, is Barra's got a new hairstyle. So if you can get on YouTube, please do, because he seems to think he's 18 again.
Okay, thanks for that. And I'm also joined by published author Max Bell.
Bonjour. How do I follow that? I think your hair looks lovely.
Okay, not quite sure what this is, but I'm also joined by everybody's favourite. Everyone's raving about you, Becky.
Not everyone. People don't see the appeal, to be fair. Hello, Barra. I love your hair.
Right, I think we've talked way too much about my hair. Can we just let's get up? So this week we celebrated 1 year in charge of the new ownership, and of course, anybody who was at the game on Saturday, Marco, well, they couldn't have missed you, could they?
No. Got my moment of fame on the pitch. No, we were fantastic. We were invited, the whole podcast were invited by Michelle and the owners to obviously take part on the pitch. Obviously to do with the money raised over a year ago when we thought all hope was lost. So obviously not just ourselves, there was other people involved, like Tom, and obviously Brew, but all the money raised went so far with people at the club, people not receiving their wages. So to get the recognition, to be out on the hollow turf, yeah,
Hollow
fantastic.
Turf. If the turf's hollow, I've got concerns.
Can I just say, Max, if really it's beyond, like, we don't need to pick him up at this point. Everyone knows what they're getting with Marco, right?
At this point, it's just borderline racism. So I'm just going to let it slide.
What racism against people from Selby?
Yeah. So the way they played on Saturday, the pitch probably was hollow. Yeah, no, it was really nice to be out there, and everybody got a really good reception. And not least the guys who made it all possible, Michelle, Rog, obviously Ian and George as well. But there were so many more people involved, which should have been on the pitch as well. But no, it was obviously football aside, it was a fantastic moment.
Well, that's it. It was a fantastic occasion. Everyone was very excited. And Max, unfortunately, just one thing ruined it. The Irons' performance on Saturday.
Yeah, I'd look, if we'd still won the game, we would be philosophical. You can't always play amazing every week, but you've got to see it out. And I think it has fallen into a pattern where sometimes in the second half, it's almost overcorrecting some of the errors of last season. We looked at games under Dean and thought, couldn't you have made your subs a little bit earlier? Couldn't you, try and mix things up a little bit more? And I think we've now had probably 2 or 3 games under Butler where it's almost mixed it up too much. I thought unnecessarily for the last 20 minutes against Oxford, we sat back. We really should have tried to kill the game off to make it 3-1. I think taking Roberts off was proven to be a mistake, unfortunately. And look, they had 2 shots on target all game, and they scored them both. We didn't play amazing, but we still scored twice. And playing the side at home, who were second bottom, if you score 2 goals, it should be enough. We should have won that game.
Becky, something Max said there about maybe being a bit too fancy, actually, with the subs and some other things. I'm not sure if I would. I think there's certainly an argument to say, actually, at times this season we've been a little bit too rigid, and we're persisting with this 3-5-2 or this 5-3-2. Do you agree with what Max is saying there, or do you think you're close to what I might be suggesting?
To somewhat, yes, I do. And I also somewhat agree with Max about Roberts as well. But then I see the other point of view. So you've got to see it as we should have played him for the full game because we've got a break this weekend. But then on the other hand, he's played 10 games in a row, I believe. He's only come on once as a sub. The rest he's started in the league games. And we only actually got 18 games out of him, including playoffs last season. So maybe we're pushing him a little bit too much. I think Butler's just trying to find his feet in a league that he's not fully, what do we call it?
Acclimatized to.
Yeah. It's a lot different to what he's used to. There's a lot of pressure on him, regardless of who comes in and who came in. There's a lot of pressure on them to be Scunny boss. So I just think he needs to settle down, trust his instinct, and trust his backroom staff as well.
Yeah, Marco, I think there's one thing I mentioned on BBC Radio Humberside the other night. Right. I possibly don't agree with a 3-5-2. I think I'm starting to worry that teams are sussing us out. But I will say this. That's what Butler believes in. And actually listening to his post-match interview on Saturday, in a weird way, it fills me with some confidence that he's going to stick with it, because it would be a little bit weird, wouldn't it, if he was to just abandon it 10 games in, considering we're top of the league.
Yeah, look, I heard what he said at home. Said again, if you haven't listened to that, definitely find it on Facebook or our X page because it's really interesting. But yeah, I hate it. I absolutely hate it. Your top managers, your top teams, all adapt to the way depending on who they're playing. Just because we've got this system of five at back does not mean we cannot change it. And to persist on doing it when it's not working is going to cost us points. Look, I don't mind the formation when we're playing away from home or against a bigger side. Kidderminster, it worked to a T. Brackley away, it worked perfect. Curzon, it's picked up some really good points. But is five at the back needed against Oxford City at home? Not a chance. Absolutely no way. And if you're telling me that's the only formation we can play, or that Butler is willing to play, then we are going to struggle to make playoffs. It's that simple. Everybody could see that game was crying out to just go for their throats. Instead of sitting back on this 2-1 lead, with all due respect to Oxford City, a side that we nullified to 2 chances from playing five at the back. And without getting more goals, you always leave that risk. So, yeah, look, I respect Butler and I like that formation. I think it works well away from home, which I didn't think it would. I was very, very concerned at the start of the season, but it's proven me wrong. But, yeah, for these lower tides at home, absolutely not. We need to be on the front foot, 2 wingers, right all in the middle. It's screaming for it. It's genuinely. I put a tweet and everyone seemed to like it. It's like it's crying out for Roberts is in his best on the right. Jason Waugh not being in his starting 11 is absolutely criminal. I just cannot get my head around it at all. I think Clune would look better in the 3. We've got 2 good centre halves. Barrows and Denton still on the wing, or even Kelly. Kelly's been unlucky to be dropped because I thought he was playing fantastic early on season. So frustrating. But yeah, that's my rant done. But no, I don't like five at the back, especially not home.
I think we let them play their football far too easily as well, and we sat back quite a lot. And I think that's where we went wrong, like you said, Marco. We didn't go forward a lot. We didn't push them. We did. Yeah, we didn't take.
It's like 10 minutes to go. It's like, right, we've done our bit. Come get us. Come on, it's Scunthorpe at home to Oxford. Like, I get showing some respect, but we are a better side than Oxford City. Let's be honest. And as soon as we took our foot off the gas, you allow them to build up pressure, build up hope, and let them believe they're going to get another chance. And of course, sod's law, of course it can. So I cannot stress enough how annoying it was on Saturday because everybody in the Donny Road end could see that was coming, barring Butler. I've not got a problem with him making changes, though. He's got the 5. And with that much strength on the bench, I do understand why he's making them. But to not change the shape, I just couldn't get my head around it.
A lot to unpack there. I think probably the most passionate I've ever seen Marco on this podcast. Max, one thing that Marco touched on there was the fact that if we don't score more goals, we always leave ourselves open. Now, Whitehall possibly missed two, can I be honest? He missed two good chances. A good save from the keeper, but one just kind of going past the far post. We praised him earlier on in the season. Do you think we kind of need a little bit more from our strikers at this point, Max?
So I think Whitehall did miss two presentable chances. I wouldn't necessarily expect him to take both. We're in the 6th tier. I would expect him to take one, but even though he didn't, you're 2-1 up at home to a weaker opposition, and you're on top. We should still win that game by scoring 2 goals. 2 goals in a home game against a weaker side should be enough. The reason I laughed earlier was, I don't know if you guys hear it, I live quite close to the railway line. The Scunny Gareth has clearly just driven past, because all I've heard is 2 giant horns pitched. So if anybody down my street wants to know why that is, sorry. Look, in terms of the performance, it was disappointing. There's no reason, or there's no point pretending otherwise. And I do accept your point that we are still top of the league, Barra, but Chester play in the league on Saturday and we don't. By the time, ironically, we go to Chester on the 19th, if they beat Leamington, as I would probably expect them to do, that game will be first versus second, but we'll be second. And then suddenly you're going away to Chester thinking, right, well, we probably need to win this now to recover, A, being top of the table, but B, also psychologically. Because all of a sudden, if you get beat in that game, you're 4 points adrift, you've had a really rough run of form for 5-6 weeks. And look, that's by sacking Dean, we send the message that last season finishing second was a failure. So those are the standards that have been set. Those have been the decisions that have been made. And look, football's fickle. If we go to Chester and win, everyone will forget about Oxford. But if we don't, they won't.
Becky, I guess the news that come out last week, which caught a lot of Iron fans by surprise, was the fact that Andy Butler's contract has been extended already until the back end of next season. I mean, I'll ask you the obvious question. Was you surprised?
Yeah, I was surprised, especially when it came. Obviously it was after a defeat, so it came as a bit of a shock. Was it because it was the anniversary, maybe? I'm not sure, or the momentum. I'm sure there's things behind it that have been put in place and plenty of talks. I was surprised, to be honest. It's only been 10 games now. It's been on and off for quite a lot of other games. So I would have given him a little bit more time before we made such a executive thing.
Vision, yeah. Marco, you have to believe that they've done it to protect the club, so there must be some kind of clauses in there regarding promotion and otherwise. And it makes you start to wonder if other clubs have been sniffing around him already for them to grant the extension so early doors.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, look at the start he had, setting records, getting some really good results. It's only recently, in the sort of last 4 or 5, where the sort of cracks have started to show. I think the new contract is a good idea. It shows the club are fully behind him. Look, he's not going anywhere. So, e.g., the players, if they were starting to have doubts in him, like, look, you either get behind him or you're not going to be in that 11. He's going nowhere. So I do get it from a stability point of view. We're all in it together. We've got stable owners, a stable club. The manager's there for the long haul. So I do fully get it. Timing-wise, on the back of Kaisley was top 5 for me. It was terrible. So timing-wise, on the back of that loss, was a little bit sus. But, like I said, I do understand it. I do want it to work for Butler. But yeah, like I said, the cracks have started showing. I really does hope he can turn it around. Like I said, would not surprise me in the slightest. 5 at the back, we go to Curzon and win Chester and win 1-0 or grind out a result. Would not surprise me in the slightest. But my frustration is the weaker teams, so-called weaker teams. We have to be on the front foot at home.
Yeah, interesting.
So regarding what Max was saying about Whitehall, I still don't think Whitehall's 100% fit.
No.
At all. And I think like we said the other day on the podcast, even if he's 80 or 90% fit, I think you play him. And I think that's exactly what's happened. In fact, Saturday, it wouldn't have gone down well, but I'd have looked at taking him off and just bringing even Roberts pushing him up top and bringing Law on or anything. And like I said, we all know how pivotal and vital Whitehall is to how we play. And I think the fact that he's not 100% fit is definitely having an effect. But then we hear he scored behind closed doors at Donny, which he definitely wouldn't have been playing in if he wasn't fully fit. So, look, what do I know? But yeah, Saturday was very frustrating. I still haven't got over it yet, if you can tell, guys.
Well, there you go. That wraps up the review of the Oxford City game, and we move on now to our next segment, Hero, Idiot, and Moment of the Week. So, Marco, kick us off. Who's your hero of the week?
My hero of the week is for these guys on the podcast, well, you guys, and everybody that's going to be involved on the charity game on Saturday. Unfortunately, I can't make it, so
Boo.
I know, but I won't spoil it. But Becky, clearly the best manager on the Iron Hour podcast. So
No pressure.
Yeah, the club's in safe hands. Look, it's for an absolutely amazing cause, and if you can get down there, we haven't got a game. I won't talk about Guiseley, but that's the reason. Please get down to Pottsville. It will be fully entertaining, and you can shout what you want at Max. And I think Greece have just gone 2-0 up, have they, Barry?
Yes, they have. Greece have gone.
They're on me.
You offside here?
No, I don't think it is.
This is fantastic podcast, guys.
No, it's 2-0,
so if you can't tell people, we're recording this in the second half of the England-Greece game.
But yeah, so my heroes are you guys. It's definitely not England. So yeah.
Is Jordan Pickford's wrists made out of poppadoms? Like, what is he doing?
Look, you said that once about your lad, and you're trying to be funny, and now that's your standard keeper insult.
No,
Well,
but
right,
to give Barra his dues, we have been shocking. Pickford has made so many mistakes.
I've heard Greece has been quite good.
Goal check, goal review.
Looks offside, though.
Yeah, he does. It's a goal review. Anyway, right, let's go. Okay, so that's.
It's tight.
It is tight. No goal. 1-0. Go doing that. Right. Never in doubt. Max, who was your hero of the week?
VAR.
Well, I was umming and ahhing about going to that England game at Wembley, so I'm glad I bloody didn't. Just when you thought we'd stop discussing it, my hero of the week is Andy Barraclough's barber. Yeah, that's a great shot if you go down like that. Gone for I almost want to call it like a box cut. Is that fair?
No, it's not fair. None of this is fair.
Like a pale Jude Bellingham.
I mean, what was it we said? It looks like the sort of kind of haircut that some mediocre championship winger would have, I think.
Very good. I don't think we said that at all, Max. No.
Look, it's the royal we. Marco said it, and I'm running with it. So, no. Yeah, my hero of the week, Ghoul's finest, I suspect. However much you paid, worth every penny. Mwah.
Okay, Becky, who's your hero of the week?
I don't think I can beat that one.
I think you can easily.
I don't think I'm getting the point here.
No, I don't think you're getting the point, to be fair, as well. At least his haircut's better than yours, though, Max.
Oh. Barrow there went full Mick McCarthy. He's like, oh, it can.
My hero of the week is Leipzig for not extorting fans. When Liverpool went there, they only charged £13 for tickets. So they are my heroes, even though I don't like Liverpool, so they should have been charged more, but that's a personal vendetta. But it's very good in the footballing world right now where tickets are sky high everywhere.
Good answer, Becky. I like that. I'll give you the point. So Becky takes the points of the first round. Let's move on to Idiot of the Week. Just so everyone knows, Max is clearly my Idiot of the Week. Marco, who is your Idiot of the Week?
Mine I really haven't got over Saturday, and I'm obviously still really bitter. It is their striker for celebrating his offside goal, like by apologising to the Donny Road and like saying, "Oh, sorry, sorry," just the absolute twattery, if I can say that. I could not stand him. He's giving it to 10-year-olds in a family stand.
Is that 1-1?
1-1.
Jude Bellingham.
How the mighty have fallen.
Look at how the Italians' face changed then.
I hadn't even got it on.
But I'm clearly behind because I'm watching it on like ITVX, and it's still 1-0 what I'm watching.
Bobby Charlton's just lifted it on that.
That's the best get.
Have you seen that meme or like going around Twitter or X or whatever it is? It says we called my mate Fire Stick because he's always a few minutes behind.
Yeah, my idiot Oxford striker, I think his name was Andrews. He's not good enough for me to remember his name, so I'm not going to.
I like that. Max, who was your idiot of the week?
I thought about going for Barris Barber again.
Clean sweep.
My idiot of the week, bit of a Red Bull theme after Becky praised Leipzig. My idiot of the week is Jurgen Klopp for taking the head of global soccer job. Yeah, Marco, very Italian. Money, 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 money. It made such a big thing about leaving Liverpool because he was exhausted and he needed a break, and he seems to have jumped into a weird pseudo corporate job quite quickly. I don't like the Red Bull model. A corporation basically buying up lots of different clubs, changing their branding, changing their badges, throwing money at them. It's an appointment or it's a move that, particularly in Germany, has gone down like an absolute cup of cold vomit. I think Borussia Dortmund, where Klopp has done an amazing job, and RB Leipzig, ideologically, a lot of German fans would think they don't really have a lot in common in terms of the kind of club they aspire to be. And I think Klopp, even at Liverpool, sort of tried to market himself as a bit of an anti-establishment man, X, Y, Z. I don't like the employment. I think it's a shame. I would still have him as England manager, though.
And Becky, who was your idiot of the week?
Speaking of England managers, mine is Lee Carsley for not putting Harry Maguire in the squad. This is a personal one. Harry Maguire is my favourite England player. I think he's injured now, though, so it's quite lucky that he wasn't in the squad. However, he is my idiot of the week.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I want to give you the points, Becky, but then it's game over, isn't it?
It's going to be game over anyway.
I'm not revealing who the points are going to at this moment in time.
You did not see this striker. I cannot.
All right, okay, you've sold me. It's 1-1. You can have the point.
I was boiling for a full game after that.
But you're hiding it so well.
The best part of the game was when he got subbed off and threw a hissy fit. That was the only good thing to happen for me that game.
Right, let's go for moment of the week. Becky, start us off then. What was your moment of the week?
Okay, so this is my moment. I hope you can see it. This is Max Bell in the paper with his compo face. It's the best compo face I have ever.
Time out. Is that your screensaver?
Yeah.
For some of our younger viewers, our younger listeners, who's compo, Becky?
Compensation face.
I thought you meant as in like compo a character on Last of the Summer Wine.
No, look at your compo face. 1 minute, let me take the thing off. I don't know how to take my blur off. You've got the worst compo face I've ever seen.
Yeah, you do.
And this is where Max hid the body.
He looks like the kind of guy that's just been told that even though we voted Brexit, we're not getting fish and chips in newspapers.
There's no chips at Glanford Park.
That's a liability, that.
That is a fantastic answer.
Obviously,
you need to redo it.
people know that I try not to talk about my character stuff on it, but there was another one of that photo where I'm like pointing at the wall and the damage and the road junction. But something about that just makes me look so miserable.
I don't think you needed to point at it, mate. A blind man.
In my partial defence, that day when we went up there, it was absolutely raining cats and dogs. So I was that miserable.
Good answer, I bet you. Yeah, it was very Karen. Right, Max, give us your moment of the week, and just let's not talk about haircuts here. What's your moment of the week?
My moment of the week was Barrows. No, my moment of the week, and they were probably quite. It's a bit of a toss-up as to whether or not this is my moment of the week or whether or not these were the idiots of the week. My moment of the week was when the FA came out and said that they hadn't spoken to any managers about the England job. What have they been doing for 3 months? Have they all gone on holiday? Like, is it like that scene in Mike Bassett where they just go round the room and we can't appoint the Aston Villa manager because he's in prison. But he was at the Everton game last week.
I was like, he doesn't fancy it now, maybe next time.
We've run around Scandinavia. Just like it's fine if you ring up other managers and they say they don't do it, or you bring them in and ask them to pitch their vision for what it'll look like, and maybe you're not aligned. Fine, at least go out and bloody speak to them. Now, say what you like, but people like Graham Potter. Is it 2-1 Greece?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Now, this is a very topical moment of the week, given that they appear to be committed. If you're going to give Carsley the job, you might as well have kept Southgate.
That's happened, like whilst we're talking about it. In injury time, Greece have just won it, basically.
Well, they've deserved it. They've been the better side tonight. They've deserved it. It's still 1-1 on my screen.
Yeah,
it's definitely 2-1, guys. Anyway, Marco's moment of the week.
I have to say, this is absolutely disgusting defending.
Yeah. Can I say my moment of the week is Vangelis Pavlidis, who is just winner.
Has he just scored the Greek winner?
Is that a waiter from Luxembourg?
Yeah, my moment, and it's one that will stick with me for a while. To walk on the pitch before the Oxford game. Again, I'm being very selfish, but I'm just a Scunny fan from a child, and to be on that pitch before the game and just get a thanks. I mean, it doesn't feel like we've contributed at all. Like, it's just anything that anybody would do, and I think all Scunthorpe fans came together. But to be out there with everything that's gone on was a really good feeling. So that's my moment.
Penalty shout just turned down there, like last knockings of the game. England player, I couldn't see who it was, went down. And
I don't think you get that. I don't think you get off penalty shout.
Right, so the points go to on that one, Marco, which means he.
How have I not got the points?
I know it's good.
Honestly, if I went on webcam, I'd be doing Stavros Flatley. Dad, beer.
Now there's a Britain's Got Talent reference from about 2008.
That's one for the younger listeners. Cheers, Marco. Right, so no game for the Iron this coming Saturday, which means no regular segment of Spy in the Camp. However, we do have this. Right, Iron fans, as I'm sure you're aware, we don't have a fixture this weekend, so no Spy in the Camp. However, we thought we'd debut a whole new segment. We're 10 games in, so we've debuting the fans review, and I'm pleased to say I'm joined today by, well, probably the best well-travelled Scunny fan I know, Ben Maidment. How you doing, Ben?
I'm okay, thank you.
Good stuff. Right, before we get stuck into the Iron and where we are 10 games in, I wondered if you could just give us a little bit of an update on your dad. How's he getting on?
Yeah, he's not doing too bad at the moment. He is still currently in Lincoln, but yeah, he's not doing too bad.
That's great. I'm sure that'll be music to a lot of Iron fans' ears because I'm sure they've been thinking of him. So that's great. Let's get stuck into it then. We are 10 games in, Ben. We're top of the league. That gap is narrowing, though. How do you see it 10 games in?
Yeah, well, we're top of the league. That's probably as much as we could ask for. It's a bit disappointing to see that we've slipped from, I think we were 6 points clear at one point, but we're still top of the league.
So, I mean, as I say, including the cup games, we've lost 2 in a row now. We had a good draw at the weekend, but there was the news that broke after those 2 defeats that Butler's contract had been extended. What did you think to that?
I was a bit surprised at the timing, really. It's the first real time that Butler's faced any real adversity. And I think I would have liked to see how we come out the end of it before they made that decision. But the board have done a fantastic job behind the scenes, so we've just got to back them and trust them, I suppose.
Now, we did talk about the league there, but dumped out of the cup at the hands of Guiseley in division below us. Was that disappointing for you?
It was, yeah. I would have liked to seen us go on a bit of a cup run. It's been a little while, hasn't it, since we've been on a really good cup run. So, yeah, a little bit disappointing. And the manner that we lost as well, we were really poor that day. So it was a real shame.
I suppose on the other side of the coin, we've seen some fantastic football at times this season. I mean, that opening game against Brackley possibly wasn't the most fluent, but actually to go there and get that result, it's incredible, wasn't it?
Yeah, we were brilliant that day. We were really, yeah. It was interesting because, like you say, we've seen some fantastic football, but it's different to last season. The philosophy, if you like, seems a lot different. We're a little bit more direct. And sometimes it's worked really positively. I think we've played really well at times, and the system's worked to a T, I suppose. South Shields away, I remember that being a really, really good performance. But of late, I suppose it's not been as good, and we've not looked at, especially at home. I just don't think we've looked really that fluent. We've not really moved the ball as quickly as I'd like to see us. So hopefully that improves pretty quickly, because we've got a really tough game coming up soon away at Chester.
Yeah, it's really interesting actually that you pick up on our home performances, because the thing that stands out for me is this formation. You know, everyone's talking about it, the 3-5-2 or the 5-3-2, however you see it. Now, Butler has decided basically that's our operating system, regardless whether we're home or away. Do you think it's a little bit too rigid? Would you like to see a little bit more flexibility? Or is it a case of, look, we're Scunthorpe United, this is how we play, and it's other teams that need to adapt?
I think that I really like it away from home. I think away from home, you can play a real away performance, and we've seen them away performances. I feel like home, I'd like to see us go for it a little bit more and get teams worried to come to Glanford Park. Like I think a lot were last season. I feel like we're not quite getting the numbers forward. We're not getting in them really attacking areas often enough. I mean, on Saturday there was chances. Although the performance wasn't great, we still had some really good chances. I remember Whitehall in the first half had a header that just went past the post, and then in the second half, Whitehall again had another really good chance. So it works at times, but I think there is a right time to use it, and I'd probably like to see us be a little bit more flexible at times.
No, I get that. I guess we've had a lot of goals coming from unusual sources so far this season. Traditionally, it's always been our attackers that have scored, but our defenders have chipped in with a few goals this season. Do you think that's an improvement on where we were last season, or is it kind of just a bit of the way it goes early on and actually it'll level itself out?
Yeah, you'd expect Whitehall to probably go on a bit of a run, or you hope he'll go on a bit of a run soon, and sort of take the responsibility of scoring the goals. Like I say, on Saturday he missed a couple that he could have scored, and I dare say he probably would have liked to have put them away and got start that runner. But yeah, it's nice to see goals spread out the team, but you do want to see your main man hitting the back of the net quite often.
For me, the thing that stands out when I look at last season and this season is that long throw that Nicholson brings. Has there been anything else that stood out for you this season compared to last?
Good things and bad things. I think we move the ball. We move the ball in a different way. We go from back to front quite quickly. But then I think that at times, especially at home, we're not moving the ball through the thirds as quick as we were. We sort of miss out that midfield more often. I'd like to see us get the ball down and just carry a bit of ball speed when we're moving the ball. I feel at times we're a little bit slow, or then we try and hit the focal point up front maybe a bit too often. Although I did really enjoy, probably for the first time I've seen it this season, Roberts got the ball in that number 10 and really showed that bit of quality, beat his man. And I felt like when he got past his man, there was only one thing that was happening, and he really showed that piece of quality for the first real time we've seen it this season.
Yeah, quite right. Roberts has been very impressive this season. Player who was impressive last season, but maybe hasn't had an opportunity this season, Jason Law. And also Finn Shrimpton, can he count himself a bit unlucky not to feature more so far?
I think so, yeah. I think there's times where, I mean, you look at Scarborough in particular when Evans played in that holding midfield role, and when wasn't particularly sure about that. I remember, I'm pretty sure Shrimpton was on the bench that day, so I feel like, yeah, he's definitely a little bit hard done by there. And the system that we're playing at the minute probably doesn't suit Roberts. Jason Law. Still a very, very good player. I think if we do change, we might see more of him in them wide areas.
Let's just stick on that then. So Evans playing CDM, as you say, not for the first time this season at Scarborough. What are your honest thoughts on that? You know, this is your opportunity. No holds barred. What do you think of that?
I think he's a good centre-back.
Have you been speaking to Max Bell? That was an absolute politician's answer. No, I also think he's a very good centre-back. I'm not sure about CDM, though. Right, so we are top of the league. Who so far has impressed you in terms of teams we've come up against this season, or who we haven't maybe played? Who are you concerned about?
I mean, it was fantastic to go away and get a result at Curzon Ashton there, and they're breathing down our necks. So, although I didn't particularly see a lot from them that day, it was one of those examples of a really good away performance. Chester have also started to put a good run together, but teams we've played really are ones that there's none that really stand out, and I think, wow, they were so much better than us, and they're going to catch us. Obviously, maybe Chester will be an interesting one a week on Saturday, but none in particular where I think, they've been fabulous. The game Scarborough, we still had chances to at least take something from it, although we weren't fantastic. I remember Clunan still having a very, very good chance. And there's been some ones where teams have dug in, and all credit to him. Warrington, Oxford on Saturday, really good, just hanging in the game and getting a point and taking something from us. There's still a lot of teams that, when they play Scunthorpe United, they try, they work extra hard and they dig in, and they've taken points off us.
The next 3 games coming up: away at Chester, home to Rushall, and away at Southport. 9 points up for grabs. What's your prediction? How many points will the Iron take from those 3 games?
Hopefully, it's better than the previous 5 or 6 that we've been. I think if you can get something away at Chester, I think you've got to at least 5, win the home game, and hope you get something away at the other 2.
Final question then. Sorry, I'm jumping in now. I'm straight. Go on, finish off then.
But you'd like to see us get all 9, but I think that's a bit of a big ask.
I think it's a bit optimistic there, Ben. Right, final question then. So we are 10 games in. We're top of the league. What would you rate the season so far out of 10?
We're top of the league, so you can't go any higher, I suppose. But we've let that lead slip a little bit, so I'd say a 7.
Oh, that's quite low. I have to be honest, that's quite low, but interesting to get your thoughts there, Ben. Thank you very much for your time, and please send your dad our best regards.
My pleasure.
Well, there you
Thanks
go,
for
Max.
having me.
That was Iron fan Ben Maidment there with his thoughts and his reflection on the first 10 games so far this season. He gave it a 7 out of 10. How do you rate the first 10 games so far this season, Max?
Worth pointing out to the listeners and to the viewers that was before Barry got his haircut.
And there he is. The Max we all know and love.
Yeah, I would say I probably would say 7 out of 10. Actually, in fairness, I think that's probably the right amount. In that we are top, but expectations are high based on the decision to sack Dean. There have been good performances. Brackley away and Kidderminster at home were two really good. The kind of performances that get you 95 points and win you the league. But equally, Warrington, Chorley and Oxford City at 6 points. We've already dropped from winning positions at home this season, which is the kind of record that sees you falling into the playoffs, but also is not something that should be happening with 5 at the back. It's the whole point of playing that formation is that you see out games in awkward moments like that, and that is an area of concern for me so far. I think of the one Scunthorpe side who's won the league in my lifetime, the 06-07 League One promotion side, and when they went 1-0 in front, never mind 2-0 or 2-1, I, as a supporter, knew they were going to win that game. And unfortunately, based on those 3 home games we've already had so far this season, I couldn't say that of this team.
Yeah, fair enough. Marco, one thing that Ben mentioned there was disappointment getting dumped out of the cup before the first round yet again. Is it still smart, that we're going to miss out on that potential cup money?
From a club's point of view, yes. For me, again, being selfish, I just want out of this division. And if not being in the cup helps that, then so be it. But look, when we got the second leg, we got the replay in the first round. These games are really useful because we haven't got a youth team anymore. We've not got a reserve. So the cup games are actually a really good opportunity to play extra games and take a look at players. Obviously, that's why we'd had the behind the closed doors. But I do think 7 out of 10, which sounds mental because we're top of the league. And nobody had us down as top of the league in all our predictions at the start. But like you said, we are fickle. And now we've seen what they can do. That's sort of the bare minimum. So yeah, 7's really fair. Again, sounds harsh, but I feel like I'm doing a school report. There's room for improvement. Andy just 5 at the back. But yeah, 7's fair. And look, we're on the ride.
Becky, just coming back to one thing that Ben picked up in that segment there was disappointment really for Law and for Shrimpton not to get more game time. First of all, are you surprised they've not featured more, particularly Law? And second of all, do you think there's a way back into the squad for both those players?
There is a way in, but I think it's going to be hard than any other positions. I do think it's really going to be difficult, and obviously Butler's not favourable of them. Maybe they don't play to his style. I'm not sure, but some like everyone else has said, I would say probably 7, 6.5 out of 10. One thing's missing for us to click, and then I think we'll go high and we'll go up and we'll be successful. But there's just one thing missing, and I don't know what it is, and maybe it's one of them.
Well, we do have options in the centre of midfield, Marco, and obviously as Butler's proven, Will Evans is one of those options.
When the lineups came out, I went, oh God, the fact that Coogan's injured means he cannot touch Evans in the centre of midfield. It was like every cloud has got a silver lining. You watch, I spoke too soon now. I'm going to see Evans centre mid at Chester out. But yeah, we do have a lot of options, which is why I'm even more annoyed because although guys who was, again, I thought was terrible, Shrimpton was not the worst of the 11. None of them really could hold their heads up after that. But it was definitely, he's not the reason we lost that game.
Max, just come back to you. I mean, something Ben touched on briefly there at the start of that segment was fantastic news to hear that things are looking up really for Martyn, Ben's father, and hopefully the road to recovery has begun for him.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Martin and Ben are both absolutely cracking Scunny fans. They stand quite near me down the front of the Donny Road and have done for probably 20 years. They're a perfect example of, you know, when you start going away as an Iron fan, you get to know people's faces, and then you get chatting a bit, and all of a sudden you've become friends. You know, obviously what happened to Ben's dad away at Gloucester on the final day of last season was really tough. But the way in which the Iron family has come together, fundraised, he's, as you say, he's hopefully looking a bit more positive, and hopefully that positive trend will continue. And I think everybody's got their fingers crossed for Ben, Martin, and the whole family, really.
Yeah, well said, Max. Really good words there. Okay, that concludes our review on the first 10 league games so far for the Iron this season. And we'll move on now to just talking really about the 2 nominations that the Iron Hour podcast have received over the weeks. And Marco, a thought from you. So, Non League Bible, we are up for 2 awards. That's Best Non League Podcast and Unsung Hero, which I know a lot of us were kind of taken aback by. Initial thoughts from you, and how can people vote?
Yeah, absolutely amazing. We set up just over a year ago, and if you'd have told me we'd be up for 2 awards from a Non League Bible, 1 for Best Podcast, an Unsung Hero, like you mentioned on Humberside the other day, we didn't know this was coming. We don't know who's nominated us. We don't know who's voted us. We've not put anything on our socials for people to vote. So the fact that we're in this position is amazing. So thank you to everyone who's listened and voted us. But yeah, like I said, it's Non League Podcast and Unsung Heroes. And don't forget, Gareth has also been mentioned for Best YouTuber, who obviously you won't all miss. This podcast is on his YouTube channel, so you definitely won't miss it. So yes, please vote for us any way you can. It only takes a minute. The links will be on all our socials, Facebook and X. But yeah, and also a big shout out for the Scunny Bunny, who's on the Non League Mascot. Obviously does great work at every game. So yeah, no, we're really taken back. And to be fair, look, I'm one of them. These guys are absolutely unbelievable. Gareth as well. Becky's obviously newer, but the work these guys do behind the scenes, this doesn't just happen. The normal guys with normal jobs. So yeah, everyone deserves a pat on the back.
And Becky is our newest member, and as I say, everybody raves about you. So possibly our fans' favourite. You know, we're just so pleased to have you on board, and you really do kind of add to the podcast. So just a moment to kind of slap you all back, but to say thanks for joining us, and thanks for making it a better looking podcast.
Oh, I doubt it. Not with that haircut, Ches. No, but honestly, the things that you've done before I came on, obviously I was working a lot behind the scenes with all the charity games. There's a lot that goes into it, a lot of hours we spend, a lot of blood and tears, and it's all worth it to see the end game and the raffles and stuff. It's incredible what you guys have done, and I remember in our group chat it being just a little bit of an idea, and then you've turned it into something that's really grand. So well done to you guys.
Ooh. Well, I think that's the thing that maybe people don't realise. It was Marco's baby all along, really. This kind of project.
He's passing the buck now, ladies and gents. He don't want his fingerprints over the dead body.
You know, it was Marco's idea in the very first place, and actually, well, you say that, Max. I'm gonna tell the listeners some truths here. And when Marco rang me up and said, "I've got this idea for this podcast," and I was like, "Oh, I don't know, mate. Can't see myself as being like a panelist and having really interesting opinions." And he went, "Oh, I think you've misunderstood, buddy. don't want your opinions. Want you to host it." I was like, "All right, I could probably do that. Yeah, I could probably do that. But I need to bring Max Bell with me." And he's like, "Okay, yeah, I could go with that." I was like, "Yeah, they'll take all the heat off me. So if we could bring Max, that'd be great."
I am Max Bell's biggest fan. I am happy to admit that. I am Max Bell's biggest fan, and
He's your screensaver.
I know he is, and I will support him through everything. If anyone gives him shit, I am there.
Well, Barrett, just in terms of me taking the heat off you, even a stop clock is right twice a day, young man.
Okay, that's great. So, one thing we talked about there was the charity games and actually the stuff we've done with Evie so far. And that leads us very nicely on to talking about the charity game we have on Saturday. So, as you guys know, Scunthorpe United don't have a game because we've been dumped out of the FA Cup. But fear not, you can get yourself down to Bottisford Town FC for a 5:45 kickoff as the Iron Hour podcast take on Rail So Bad. Is that right, Becky?
Yes, it is, and that's correct. 5:45 kickoff. £2 donation is being asked, but I think that's cheap considering you'll get 90 minutes of pure comedy from Max Bell alone. So, yeah, they're in the game. After the game, there's a big marquee. There's raffles that have some really good prizes. There's from cleaning carpets to cakes to signed football shirts from Scunny. There's a boxing glove in there, I think. Beer. Yeah, thanks, Marco. There is the bar open after. You do get some pie and peas. So yeah, no, it's looking really, really good.
And I'm very pleased to say that we actually have a special guest coming down on Saturday. So, ex-GB athlete and Commonwealth Games silver medalist Gemma Richardson, Scunthorpe's Gemma Richardson, will be coming down on Saturday to hand out the trophy. So, if you want to get your picture taken with a real-life athlete, get yourself down on Saturday, Bottisford Town. Doors open at 5:30. Is that right, Becky? Kick off at 5:45.
I think it's around 5:30. Yeah. We'll be there a bit earlier, but I think so. I think yeah.
That is it. I didn't know about Gemma. Anybody going, she is unbelievable at what she does. So definitely go meet her if you can.
Yeah, it's good of her to come down actually. And as soon as I asked her, she said yes, right? But I just sent her another message today to remind her, and I said, "Oh, just letting you know, obviously the game at the weekend. Make sure you're there." She said, "Yeah, no worries. I'll see you Sunday." But oh, it's Saturday. She's like, fine, whatever day.
Anybody who doesn't know, Gemma's very, 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 very good at boxing. So you don't argue.
No, yeah, it's Sunday. Sure.
I will change it to Sunday.
Right, so let's wrap up then with the FPL update from you, Marco.
Yep, speaking of very good, me. I have moved up to 51st in the FPL, which is a huge jump. I'd almost get the, speaking of trophies, I always used to get that one at football. What was it, most improved?
Yes.
I don't want to say how shit you were.
True story, actually. I got that for boxing as well. So,
yeah, I've got
consecutive defeat.
Yeah, 50. We've got Max just sitting. I won't say sitting on top. Just
laying on top, perched. What adjective do you want?
Always took a turn. Max is
one.
Max in 49th. Marco in 51st. Barra, dare I say it? No, where are you? 125th. But you are not last, and I'm sure you will love bringing up Maria. Is Gareth in 170th. But not only is everybody raving about her on the podcast, it seems she's also the Jose of the podcast also. So she is sitting in 19th. Again, we say every time, there's over 280 people in this league. So the fact, if you're in the top 100, I'd say you're having a right good crack at it. So well done, everyone. 2 weeks off now for international break. And remember that this year is the first year where your subs actually build up. So if you don't make any subs,
transfer.
Yeah, and probably don't use them because there's likely to be injuries these 2 weeks. So yeah, all to play for.
I know it's not like Marco to get anything wrong, but just so you guys know, it's transfers, not subs. But who am I to pick up on?
I'll tell you who you are. You're 125th. That's
Yeah, all right. Good point, well made.
Marco, if he'd been 51st, he might have got a different haircut.
Right, I think we've milked this, right? Can I just check? We've got it all out the way on this one episode, and that's it, right?
It depends if you come back next time with a proper one.
It depends if the buzz is still there.
I'm thinking like just bleach it blonde, come in looking like some sort of pound shop Phil Foden.
Or new segment.
What will Barra's hair look like?
Yeah.
Tonight, Matthew, we're going to be
60.
Jason Lee.
I say this is a completely disproportionate response to me not styling it to the side, right? This is ridiculous.
I'm bald, so I can say what I want.
I'm ginger, so I can say what I want. Becky's a woman, so there you fucking go.
Anyway, right, so that wraps up this week's episode of the Iron Hour podcast. Thank you very much for listening. I'm not sure if this one will get nominated for any award, if I'm being honest, but there you go. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on the Iron Hour podcast.